The following is a presentation of Project Independence and WCWP. Project Independence is the Aging in Place initiative of the town of North Hempstead.
Welcome to Project Independence and You.
Good morning and welcome to Community Talk Radio. This is Project Independence and You on LIU Public Radio. I'm your host and producer, Kristina Liu, along with my co-host, Paula Ewell and Otto Los. Paula and I work together at the town of North Hempstead Services for the Aging, where I'm the Director of Senior Citizen Affairs and Paula is the Deputy Commissioner. And Otto, what can we say about Otto each week? He's a longtime volunteer, supporter, friend, all around inspiration. Yeah. Do you like that? Is that about right?
Or it's a view.
Oh, there it is. There's the punchline.
Why I'm here.
Well, this morning we are talking to something that I think is beneficial for all ages.
Yes.
We have on Dr. Zach Gower, who is a chiropractor, and we're talking about Spine 101, the importance of your nervous system and all things. We were talking so much about our backs and our spines, and I said, as you read it, you're like, you really feel it. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
So I like that, when we were going through what the title would be and you said Spine 101, I liked it because I was like, all right, we're getting to basics.
Basics, yep.
So I think starting with that, you hear all these things and like the nervous system, what is the spine involved with the nervous system, like at its core, the importance of it?
Great question.
Yes.
So the spine and the nervous system is made up of the brain stem, the spinal cord, and that is contained in the spine. And that is your nervous system. And your nervous system controls everything in your body. So it's very important.
No.
Well, you know what? I've understood in the past, but getting ready for this, I realized that the nerves seem like they all start by the brain and they work their way down through the spine and then they're filtered out to the rest of your body. Is that kind of a simplistic way of looking at it?
Yeah, you're exactly right. I actually brought my spine.
Oh, great. So if you are watching us on YouTube, you could see this full spine that he came with a prop.
Wow.
And we love a
Oh my
prop.
gosh.
Okay, so your brain is up here, okay? And this is the skull, this piece of bone.
Mhm.
And then the brain goes into the brain stem. And then the spinal cord is next, okay?
Mhm.
Now, the spinal cord is this green thing right here, and it goes, and it's located in the spine. You know you have a hole in your head right here.
Right.
And it travels through this hole, through the spinal canal. You have 24 bones in your spine, movable bones.
Wow.
And the spinal cord is located inside of that. And to protect it, we have these bones and the skull protecting the brain. And out of here come the nerves, these green parts, and this goes to every organ and travels to every organ, cell, and tissue in your body. So that is the communication pathway of how the brain sends messages down the spinal cord, out the nerves, to all parts of the body, and then receives it back. So it's a constant communication feedback loop.
You know,
That's how the bodies work.
there was an exhibit in New York a number of years ago, the bodies exhibit.
Yeah.
Sure, it's amazing.
And I remember it was like they said there's, if I'm exaggerating, to only 1 million miles of nerves in your body. That if you think about how to control that, how do you do that?
I know.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things, Otto and I were talking before the show and and of course, if you're watching us on YouTube, you will see this lovely prop. But if not, you can imagine, a spine and all these nerves coming out.
By the way, a good reason to look at it on YouTube
Is to see it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because when you actually see it, you realize just how complex. And
Yeah.
Otto was saying that he really feels for people that have pain in their spine
Yeah.
because it's affecting so many different parts of your body. So when you actually see this and all these nerves. I feel like my back. I'm like, oh God.
Shoulders up.
It is.
Shoulders back.
But it's really, it blows my mind. Every time we have a topic like this and the complexity of the human body is something that will forever, mind blowing.
Talking now about the complexity, one of the things that I always have a hard time understanding is how do you determine, like we're so used to people having x-rays, for example, to see a problem. And most of the time in past, my wife has had some exposure to chiropractors. There really are no x-rays involved. Is that, is it not required for a chiropractor? How do you determine where the issue is?
That's a great question, Otto. So as a chiropractor, we look at a bunch of different things when we're checking the spine and the nervous system. So X-rays is definitely one of them.
Oh, you would do an X-ray.
Some chiropractors might use an X-ray, some might not. The
Do you
X-ray,
as a practice or
I do, yes.
yeah.
It's not necessary all the time. Um,
Right.
like I take care of a lot of children and babies, so I
You
don't
don't want to.
They can't tell
X-ray
you.
them
Right.
unless there's like a serious, significant
Yeah.
issue that I want to check. But the spine, it has natural, it's supposed to have natural curves in it. So I'm molding it now. You
Mhm.
have a curve in your neck. It's like a reverse C curve, okay? Like this. And then the curve goes the opposite way in the mid back. And then the low back again goes to that reverse C and then back again. So you're supposed to have these normal structural curves in your spine. So when the chiropractor looks at x-rays, that's one thing that they're going to look at. Different than another doctor might look at. And then we're also looking at the shapes of the bones, if they're healthy, the disc spaces in here, the spaces between the bones are the discs. They're like the cushions of your spine. And we're seeing if that has normal spaces in there, as well as if there's any presence of degeneration or other issues like that. If we're basically checking the alignment, checking if things are level, if the hips are level, if things are moving properly. You know, when we take an X-ray, we can also do when the person's moving forward and backward, or flexion and extension, and we can see if the spine's moving properly as well. So that's one
Wow.
way. And then also, we use our hands. It's called palpation. We check a person's body. So we're feeling the tone of the system. We're checking if the leg lengths are level. We're checking the muscles, if the muscles are very tight or if there's a natural tone there. We're checking if the bones are moving properly, if they're fixated or not, if there's swelling or edema. We're checking range of motion, if they're moving properly in different angles, postural assessment, things like that.
Well, I have a problem with posture, but I started out that way.
Started. I really like that. I just started.
I
out that
know
way.
it. I mean, I
Yeah.
try to remind myself, but
Yeah, yeah.
but it doesn't always.
Well, you know what I think about posture so often because I'm a generation of like slouchers, and but especially with like cell phones, like, do you notice now in life because everyone's like constantly looking down on their phone that it's really affecting everyone's posture, like from a young age?
Definitely. They actually have a term for it. They call it text neck.
Text.
neck.
Text neck.
Yeah, so everyone's in the technology age,
Yeah.
everyone's on their phone like
Yeah.
this or on
Yeah.
the computer like this, and it definitely affects your spine and posture long term. Remember, I mentioned that you're supposed to have a curve in your neck right here, but if you're constantly looking down like this, or if you're slouching and bringing your head forward like this on the computer, what happens is a lot of times this curve in your neck, you lose it. Not only can you lose it, it can go the other way, reversed.
Oh,
That causes a lot of problems for people. That causes a lot of degeneration and breakdown over years and decades of it not being corrected.
I mean, that's very interesting. I walk a lot and I walk near New Hyde Park High School, Memorial High School. And every kid, not
Walking and reading.
99% are doing their bit, while they're walking. I wonder if anybody really preaches the fact that over a long haul, if you do that for God knows how many years, you're going to get a problem. I have never heard the term text neck
yeah.
until just
No.
now.
No, I think about it more often than not. And my husband will actually yell at me, like, if I'm like sitting there and I'm like looking and he's like, oh, and I was like, no, you're right. So then I try to like hold it up. But I notice it with kids and I like wonder like the effects of like it like creating like a scoliosis situation, because I mean, you were saying from such a young age, you're doing this, and then I have my mom who's in her 70s and like the cell phone really from holding it has affected so many parts of her body. We were just having this conversation because it was like she was holding it and it was hurting her wrist. And she's on the computer all day too because she's still working. And then it's hurting her back. So it's all these things. And I'm like, Mom, you have to think like, you're sitting there in this position all day long, and then forget it. She's worse. I call my mama Gen Z all the time. She's always on her phone. And, she's always looking down. And I'm like, you don't realize the impact when you're already starting out with all these, pains and stuff, what it does is you have to think about it. It's really.
Yeah. What would you say is the main reason people come to see a chiropractor?
Yeah.
Like as opposed to, I think I'll go to X doctor or Y doctor. What's the main reason?
So oftentimes people will come in if they have a pain in their body, like a neck or a back pain, or they're experiencing some sort of health issue, maybe digestion or headaches, or they're not sleeping properly. So that's often the case. And then in my practice, I'm big on education, and I teach people about the importance of, like I am right now, and we're talking about the spine and the nervous system, and how it's elemental for every aspect of your health. And the reason to take care of your spine is not really to, you want
to prevent the reason they're coming to you.
Exactly.
And be proactive.
Exactly. Like the goal of my care is, I don't want people to be in pain, but it's not really the goal of what I'm doing. I want people to have a healthy functioning nerve system. And I want to teach people that by taking care of your spine and getting adjusted, it's going to help you live optimally in every way, because the nerve system, which is controlling everything, it's going to help every life function work better.
Now, the word alignment comes up a lot when I was preparing for this. And would that be like the number one thing, to simplify it, that you would get involved with, is aligning the spine?
Yeah, definitely. Chiropractic is the main thing. So spinal alignment and the chiropractic adjustment is very gently and specifically allowing their body to, adjust properly, remove stress from their system so that their body can be in better alignment. When that happens, their posture gets better, and every aspect of their health and life is improving over a period of time. And it takes time and consistency to get results. But when you take care of your spine, you have a better quality of life, and oftentimes you have a longer.
Are there different techniques that chiropractors use? Like my wife, as I said, has had a lot of good success with one person in particular who's no longer involved. And she says that they use a different technique. I don't know, but are there different techniques?
Yeah, and just to go back real quick, besides chiropractic, I also teach people about like lifestyle issues also, how to really take care of your health on so many different ways besides getting adjusted, to help hold your adjustments, to help be healthy, to help eat well, and how to move well, and take care of your mind. So it really is an all-encompassing thing. When you come to a principal chiropractor's office, is really going to teach you about chiropractic. We really try to give you a whole spectrum of how to be healthy. And there's definitely a lot of different techniques in chiropractic. So I use a lot of different techniques in my office. I use my hands primarily, but there's also adjusting instruments that I use to help adjust people. If I'm seeing children or babies, it's very, very gentle and light. And then when I'm seeing older people, older population, I have adjusting tools I can use and instruments.
And after the break, we will continue talking with Dr. Zach Gower, who's a chiropractor, all about Spine 101, the importance of your nervous system. You're listening to Project Independence and You on LIU Public Radio. So I get this call from my grandma, and she's like,
"What's a podcast, and how much does it cost?"
So I tell her, podcasts are like radio shows, but you can download them on any device and listen to them anywhere at any time, and they're free. And then she says,
"I see, but where can you find good ones?"
And I'm like, go to wcwp.org/podcast and check out the lineup of original shows, or download any podcast app on your phone or tablet and search for LIU Studios. And she's all like,
"Oh, that sounds easy."
And then she asked me what an app is.
LIU Studios podcasts, available on any podcast app. Those little button things on your phone screen. Just ask your grandkids.
Welcome back to Project Independence and You on LIU Public Radio. I'm your host, Kristina Liu, along with my co-host, Paula Ewell and Otto Los, and we're jumping right back in with Dr. Zach Gower, who is a chiropractor, and we're talking all things spine 101, the importance of your nervous system. And I hope everyone that's listening is, sitting up straight, and really just, it helps your breathing. And all jokes aside, I try to do that and just back to posture because I really do see, I mean, we talk about posture more than not around it.
Right.
But is there just like a good tip people can do, because it really does help you breathe better. I was actually doing my husband because I was telling you get like comfortable
Right.
and then you're like, ah. And then you said, you're like, oh, I can feel like there's better airflow.
Right.
So what can people do that are listening to like make because as Otto was saying, he came out this way, so it's years of bad posture, so is it hopeless if you hit a certain point or what can you do?
It's a great question. So a lot of people are sitting all day and they're not moving. So one thing that I recommend everybody does is just move more.
Mm.
You know, if you're sitting down for work, 8 or 10 hours a day,
Yeah.
get up
Yeah.
every 45 minutes or an hour
Yeah.
and just move around and stretch
Yeah.
because that's so important because your body just gets locked up in positions and then your muscles get tight and then
Right.
you start to feel pain.
Right.
So take a walk around the block or moving is great. If you can stretch in the morning or at night, that's really good.
That's good. Yeah.
Now, the word stretch, all right, you can do a lot of different kinds of stretch.
Yeah.
Any particular stretch that might be better than another stretch?
I just stick with the basics. I give people like movement,
Just, I mean, if you
stretches.
Just don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, don't get too crazy. Don't get too crazy.
Well, next week.
Don't get too wild with the stretching.
That stretch.
Yeah, I just tell people there's like basic foundational maybe some yoga poses like or strengthening like core exercises are really good. It's kind of hard to describe without like actually showing you.
Yeah.
But those are really good to do in the morning just to kind of get moving. I really like that. And then also just, moving your head around like this and breathing back, forward, side to side, rolling it like that. These are all really good things that you can do because if your spine's not moving properly, it starts to, break down. And one of the best ways to help your posture is when you get adjusted, your posture naturally comes into better alignment. It's really hard to do that if your spine's out of alignment. You can try a lot, to work on your posture, but
Yeah.
if your posture is structurally imbalanced, then it's
Yeah, you
going to be
can't
pretty
do it.
difficult.
Does your spine is the alignment in your spine like automatically shift with age or change? Is it like most people at some point will have some problem with their spine, or is that something that,
Can be
like what is
avoided.
Be
the
avoided,
average? Yeah,
right,
can
yeah.
be
Yeah.
avoided.
Definitely, yeah. If you
Yeah.
take good care of your spine and your body and your health, you can have a great looking spine and you can be completely healthy and avoid a lot of these issues. And that's one of the benefits of
Mhm.
getting long-term chiropractic care,
Yeah.
wellness chiropractic
Yeah,
care,
yeah.
because you're preventing a lot of health issues before they happen and
Right.
or even stop progressing them from getting worse. So I see a lot of things in my office that are common, like
Mhm.
spinal degeneration, herniated discs, disc degeneration, scoliosis, but they're not normal.
Right.
So it's common that
Right.
people are having their joints break down or getting replacements of joints, but it's not normal by
Normal.
any means.
Got it.
in
But I think
Right.
that's such an interesting point
Yeah.
because I do think that it is a common misconception.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, well, if
Right,
I'm
right,
getting
aging,
older, right?
it's
It's like,
gonna happen,
right,
right.
everyone's going to shrink, everyone's going to like, their posture is going to be off. But I think that that's such a good thing that, yes, and where it might be common, it's not necessarily, has to
Can
be the
happen.
case,
Right.
right?
Right.
It's interesting. The things you described before is when you get up to stretch and do this and that. And I just read a thing about blood pressure in the morning. It's a good idea before you get out of bed almost really to
Hmm.
just start to stretch and have 2 glasses of water.
2, wow.
Yeah. To
Wow.
hydrate,
Yeah.
and it's kind of similar to what you're describing as far as the spine goes. So basically, that covers the whole body, really.
Yeah.
Not just the impact of doing that impacts other things like your blood pressure. you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, in the morning, every morning I have one of those exercise balls and I basically do some rotation. I go extension, flexion, side to side, circular motions before I go into the office because before I start working on people, I want to make sure that my body is loose and in good shape. If you could work out before in the morning, that's really great too. And also to your question, your spine, because of the life is stressful. And so because of
There's a quote. There's definitely the quote.
Called
Life is stressful.
can't avoid that. But with chiropractic makes you more adaptable. And so there's going to be changes throughout your life. But if you're taking care of your spine, and a great way is with chiropractic, it makes your body more adaptable to those stresses of life.
Makes sense.
And Otto, you reminded me that there's a research, there's a lot of chiropractic research, and one of the research studies looked at blood pressure, and blood pressure is regulated in the brainstem. That's one of the functions that it controls. And so it looked at the chiropractic adjustment as versus a control, and it found that the chiropractic adjustment was able to normalize blood pressure, oftentimes reducing it because a lot of people have high blood pressure, but it can also increase it if it's lowered too, just maintaining that normal balance. And it definitely helps to do that. And it helped to do that more than blood pressure medication. So another great way to help just make sure that your natural levels are good is getting chiropractic care.
Now you do an alignment on me, for example, all right?
Otto said, "Look there." Yeah.
What should I now be doing? Like I hear people talk about, well, I should put heat or ice on wherever the work was done. What should I do as the person who now walked out of your office? What's my obligation?
Yeah, that's great. So really not much, take a walk. I tell people after a chiropractic adjustment, you might feel tired. A lot of people are overstressed, so their body's kind of in this constant go, go, go. We call it fight or flight or sympathetic.
Right.
They're constantly like on the rush. And so
Right.
chiropractic, it helps balance that. And the other system is parasympathetic, which is rest and digest. So a lot of times it makes you more relaxed. It makes you calm down. You might be tired. You might want to take a nap because when you're resting and sleeping, your body's healing. So I would say just take a walk, drink some water, enjoy your day.
Otto said, "I can do that." Otto said, "I could do all those
We could
things."
do this.
You're going to be in a better mood. You're going to be happier. And also with the ice is a lot of times if people are in pain, if like an acute problem, which is like a short-term pain, you can use ice to like up to 20 minutes to reduce that inflammation, but it also does to numb the nerves. With the heat, it's more for chronic issues, helping to relax the muscle and people can do that also. I like to take a hot shower and then I end it cold. People do cold plunges. So I think both of those are good too.
But I'm glad you brought that up because, my mom actually lives upstairs from me, and she's always dealing with crime. I mean, you hit the nail on this. She's like a perfect candidate for all this stuff. But she's been having terrible back pain. And we were, it's always like this thing, like, is it ice? Is it heat? Like, what do we do? And then, so I was like, why don't you just try the heating pad? Like, so I set it up for her, and then like, it was really making such a difference, like the heat, and obviously, and I was trying to preach. I'm glad that I was trying to innately. I was like, just do some stretches. But I do think, it really impacts the quality of life. And I think I love what you said is that, it's not hopeless, and I think so many people that suffer with chronic back pain, like think like, what, this is just the cards I've been dealt, right? Like there's nothing that's going to change it. And I think it is important. Like, yes, it might not magically all go away, but like you're saying, like, there is so many things, and I think that that's the best message for everyone listening is that you can, get some relief. And I mean, it's really debilitating. And I've seen it, firsthand with people.
We see it in my house
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. No, it really is. I mean, it impacts, and you see all these, and then when you actually hear, you talk about it, like the different parts of your body that it's affecting, I mean, is just endless.
You on your website or some of the notes that we received had a thing called the Summer Chiro Special, but I'm not really interested in that. If it's a specialized, now fine. But what you talked about was your approach is that if somebody comes to you new, they get a consultation, an assessment, and a doctor's report. Could you describe that for us a little bit? How's that process go?
Yes, when somebody comes into the office, I'll do a history and consultation. So I'll talk to them about their health, any health concerns that they're having, and then I'll do a chiropractic examination and assessment. I'll check their system, and I'll do a bunch of different tests, what we talked about earlier. Um, Posture, I'll check. I'll feel their system. I'll check their range of motion. I'll check their nervous system function. I also have tools in the office to check how their nervous system, how the muscles are functioning, as well as how the heat on different sides of their body is working. That it basically checks how the nervous system is working,
Wow.
and a bunch of different things. I'll go over them with them, their health, their goals, how it's affecting them, and I'll do a doctor report, which I'll analyze their X-rays, and then I'll give them my recommendations for what the problem is and how I can help them.
Now, do you do X-rays at your place, or do you have places where you would send people?
I don't do them at my office. I refer them out, and
Right. You're located in Port Washington, I think?
yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so I send them to like Lenox Hill Radiology.
Now, here's a question that suppose weight is an issue, all right? Is that an issue as far as the chiropractor goes? Because I could visualize maybe having difficulty getting to the spine, to be honest about it.
Yeah. Some people are more difficult to adjust than others.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's different ways that I can adjust, bigger people or smaller people. There's so and yeah, it's better if it's better if people, I help people to see if I can give them solutions to help them lose weight. And also times, also with the chiropractic, it helps regulate your metabolism also. So it's helping regulate, your hormone levels, your hunger levels. And so a lot of people, they find that they have a lot of, health benefits and weight loss as well. But if they gain weight, if they lose weight, great. But if they gain weight, I don't take credit for that. I don't blame
Well, I mean, weight is probably one of the more sensitive topics with most people, really.
Yeah.
But it's a real world thing. And if you're trying to get treatment, it
Yeah.
could be a hurdle that maybe you can help it it can be overcome at the same time.
Yeah.
Definitely. And it causes a lot of, negative effects as well as your spine and your
Yeah,
health,
that makes
Right.
sense.
your joints and how your body's working.
Now, how did you get involved with this? Did you, like when you were 15 years old, did you say, I'm going to be a chiropractor someday?
That's funny. I grew up playing sports. I played soccer and tennis, and I my parents brought me to the chiropractor growing up, so I would go in,
Oh, really? When you were young?
yeah, high school, and I loved it. And I was always into health, and I just loved how I felt after. And I love there's in chiropractic, there's a science, a philosophy, and an art. And the philosophy of chiropractic is all about that your body, there's a wisdom and intelligence in your body that it can heal itself, that it has the power inside to the power that made the body can heal the body. And so I always resonated with that. And I always liked that your body can function and heal and adapt by itself. And so that's what got me into it. And when I went to college and I studied business, and I worked in business and finance for a number of years, like 5 years. And then I decided to go to chiropractic school. And yeah, from there it was,
It's a wrap.
that was it.
It's a wrap.
So I was introduced to it for a long time. And then I realized like, wow, I want to do this.
We walk around in a super complicated computer, all right?
Yeah.
And some of the things like I do believe, and that your mind and your attitude plays a big part sometimes in like what you're describing about the brain communicating to this system in your spinal cord. I found like myself, if you're laying in bed and you have an itch over here, if you stop thinking about that itch and think about something else, the itch goes away.
Mm.
You know, that's a small example, but I
And it might
believe
be
that
so soon.
your mind can be directed in different ways. Yeah, and not simply, especially in some cases. I mean, it's not real. You really have a really severe problem. But I think there are some cases where you can kind of direct your mind to some other way, to another path away from the one that is bothering you. Uh, and that's kind of like going down a path I think you're talking about, your mind and health in general.
Yeah, there's so many things I could talk to you about that. It's
Well, we're up for
Yeah. How does it talk to me?
so a few things. So you can only feel less than 10% of what's going on in your
Wow.
in your autonomic nervous system. So, you can't feel your body. Maybe you can, but you're not always conscious of it, of your body making new cells or your body regulating, different hormones or different pathways. So a lot of this stuff is subconscious. Now, with pain is registered in the brain. And so it's an emotional component to that. And so a lot of times you can have problems in your spine, but you might not even feel it, or you might feel it more, but it might necessarily correlate to the issue you're having or the place. A lot of it is could be emotional as well. And so the mind is so powerful that we can, and that's what I touched upon before, that there's this innate intelligence in our body. That's the life force in our body that's running and allowing our body to work and heal and function. And it's incredible. And so when we tap into that power, well, when you get adjusted, I believe that it's helping to reconnect you to that power. It's helping that
Well,
power.
Dr. Gower, hold that thought because we will
Okay.
continue that in the next segment. After the break, we will continue talking with Dr. Zach Gower, who's a chiropractor, all about Spine 101, the importance of your nervous system. You're listening to Project Independence and You on LIU Public Radio.
Take WCWP with you wherever you go with the WCWP app. Listen live 24/7 to all of our streams, all from one app. Plus, call the studios directly from the app and visit our social media. Download the app through the iOS App Store on Apple devices or the Google Play Store on Android by searching WCWP Radio, or visit WCWP.org for links. The WCWP app, available now on iOS and Android devices.
Welcome back to Project Independence and You on LIU Public Radio. I'm your host, Kristina Liu, along with my co-hosts, Paula Yule and Otto Los, and we're diving right back in with Dr. Zach Gower about all things involving the spine. What we have learned in the first two segments is it's literally connected to every part of your body, and it just once again shows how complicated it is and how important it is to, kind of look at the whole body and promote this wellness. And before the break, Otto, I know we were talking a little bit about hearing and people. Now this was during the break. So tell us, and you said, Dr. Gow, there is some kind of hearing connection with the spine.
Yes, well, the first adjustment was done in 1895,
Whoa.
and the creator of chiropractic, his name is D.D. Palmer. And he was a really interesting, fascinating man. And he studied the whole anatomy and nervous system. And he was working in an office, and he was starting to kind of develop his theories and ideas. And there was a janitor in the office. He had been deaf for 17 years. His name was Harvey Lillard. And he found that he had like a area in his back that he saw was out of alignment. And so he did a few adjustments on this janitor, and he got his hearing back after 17 years.
Wow.
And he was amazed, and that was the start of chiropractic. And he thought he had a cure for deafness. So a lot of deaf people started coming into the office, and unfortunately, not everybody would get their hearing back because chiropractic is not really a cure for anything. But people started to get healthier in other ways, other things started to get better in their bodies. And then from that developed the science, the art, and the philosophy of chiropractic. The science being the study of the body and how it works, the art of specifically adjusting the spine and how to do that, and the philosophy of what we were talking about this life power inside of you and how it heals you.
Wow.
I had a question about, I was reading some of your information. What is subluxation? Am I
That's
saying
a
that
great
right?
question.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm very curious about that.
So that's what a subluxation, if you break down that word,
Yeah.
sub means less, lux means light or power, and ation a condition of. So it's basically it's a condition of less life power flowing through your body. And that's what I'm looking for every time somebody comes into the office. I'm checking if they're subluxated. I'm checking for subluxations in their spine, and
And that's something you're feeling, that's something that you're evaluating with your
exact
hands, with your tools. Okay.
exactly. Now, if you look at the spine again, if your spine's if there's a bone out of alignment, okay, it's gonna create, in a sense, it's gonna block this life power flowing through the body.
Okay.
It's gonna create tension. It's going to pull on this nerve, affect the tone of the system, and that's basically a subluxation. It's disconnecting the information and power flowing through the nervous system to the rest of the body. And over time, that is slowly going to kill people because that is allowing every other part of the body not to work as well as it should. And so when people come into the office, I'm checking for these subluxations, and with the chiropractic adjustment, I'm helping to. I'm not I'm not adjusting their body. I'm just finding that area,
Right.
and the person that comes in, their body does the adjustment. Their
Okay.
body is shifting and making those changes and clearing the subluxations. I'm just helping to restore that balance for them.
Okay. Is that correct on its own?
It
It's
can.
like, yeah.
Yeah. So D.D. Palmer, who I mentioned earlier, he had a son, B.J. Palmer. So D.D. Palmer was the originator of chiropractic,
Okay.
and B.J. Palmer was the developer. So
Okay.
both of them helped to really popularize chiropractic about over 125 years
Yeah.
ago. And he told a story that somebody can trip and fall down they could be subluxated, they could fall down the stairs, and then their body can come back into alignment.
Oh.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's forces all throughout life.
Right.
You can do your exercises and
Right.
movement, and you could kind of self-adjust. Your body is self-adjusting, but really the chiropractor's expertise is to help to facilitate the specific alignment.
If I had a spine that looks like that spine, really
Yes.
curved,
Yes.
can you actually, how do you do what you're talking about, like the alignment? Are you actually trying to curve the spine, or are you taking little pieces of it, or how's that work?
That's a great question. So let's say I'm checking someone and I find the first bone in their neck. It's called the atlas. It's one of the most important parts of the spine, out of alignment. Okay. And so I basically, I'm finding where the person's system, where it creates ease and balance. Basically, I'm kind of checking in with that person's system with their innate intelligence to find exactly where the right position or area it wants to move, where it's stuck. And it's stuck millimeters. It's basically your spine's supposed to move. It's supposed to move this way, up and down. So it could be stuck and not moving properly. And so very specifically and gently, I'm creating a force in there, whether it's just with my finger or with a more of a traditional adjustment. And we're helping to that person restore normal biomechanics in their spine, normal movement. And over time, Otto, that will help to, change the overall alignment of the spine.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's connected, so we can make an adjustment up here and it can help the spine align down here, or we can do one down here and it can help everything get more into balance. So a lot of times you're kind of like uh, an engineer, and you're helping the whole structure of the spine so that the body can function better. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And through a course of care, people are on care plans in my office, we're helping to basically guide their spine into a normal positioning.
Are you familiar with Chiari?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which apparently I have a granddaughter and a daughter, so I'm getting personal here, but that had that problem. And it's the brain pressing on the spine.
Yes.
Does chiropractic come into play at all in something like that?
Yeah. So I've seen a number of people that have that issue, and that's just a good example of why it's good to have imaging or some diagnostics to know exactly what's going on with the person, because
Right.
people have spinal anomalies like that, or they could have accidents, and things aren't maybe like what they would be in a typical or normal spine. And so, yeah, just by I would use a gentle technique and just removing tension and pressure off the spine, it can help the body to get into better balance and alignment. And it could help someone that's has Chiari, which has a lot of different associated problems and symptoms,
Yeah, I mean,
headaches or
they simplified it in the beginning, but it's not that simple.
yeah.
They had surgeries and, the whole routine that goes along with it. And,
So yeah, I tell people that come into the office and we'll check you, and you can avoid not only a lot of um, pain or problems diagnosing what's going on, because oftentimes people will go to every doctor
Right.
before they come to a chiropractor. They don't know what's going on with them.
Right.
They have a whole different
Yeah.
list of symptoms for a long time.
Yeah.
No one knows what it is. No one knows how to get it better. And so I find that getting your spine checked and balanced, it can not only helps a lot of these issues resolve naturally in time, but save people from getting surgeries and other, things and other things that might not
Yeah.
have worked for them.
Well, can you, like, what would you do if someone has sciatica? Like, is there a specific recommendation, or how do you handle that?
Like when
That's
somebody
very
comes in,
painful. Yeah.
when someone
and
comes into the
acute.
office.
Yeah.
Definitely, I've had sciatica, so I understand it's extremely painful. I
Yeah.
see people with that all the
Yeah.
time.
It's like
Yeah.
debilitating.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so sciatica, are you familiar with what it is?
A little bit.
Okay, so basically, uh, these these it often involves the discs and the nerve roots down here. When your spinal cord is stretched, from what we talked about before, when the spine loses alignment, oftentimes the problems happen in the lower spine because it's stretching, and this is kind of like the focal point of that stress. So oftentimes L5 and L4 discs will herniate, and it will cause structural problems, and that will cause these nerves are coming out of these little holes down here, okay?
Yeah.
But if the spine's out of alignment, it's going to close off
So
these
it's compressing
holes.
on the nerve.
It's compressing it, yeah.
So herniate means to compress?
Herniate is this like
It's a
jelly
bulge,
disc right
Yeah,
here.
okay.
So
Start to like bulge out, right?
Right.
yeah, it starts to bulge out, and then a herniation is when this like gel, like the picture of jelly donut, it's like kind of the fluid starting
Yeah.
to come out.
Okay.
And then that's going to put pressure on these nerves
Nerve.
down here. And these nerves, they form the sciatic nerve root, which
Okay.
comes through here. And there's different muscles that it runs through, like the piriformis muscle. It also, a lot of times, if there's problems down here, it'll affect the front, which is the psoas muscle. So people can get very tight muscles in there in the glutes, and these nerves, they run down the legs,
Yeah.
down the front and
leg,
back of the
right.
legs into the feet. So people can start to feel this in their butt,
Yeah.
and going down the legs, and it could be very painful,
Right.
burning, pain, tingling,
Right.
numbness.
Right.
So simply when someone comes in, I would do what I would do for
For any
any
other?
other person,
Okay.
but just paying special care to them, helping them if they're extreme pain, going gentler,
Yeah.
and just helping balance their system. And over time,
It heals.
it heals, it resolves. The body's constantly healing
Healing.
itself.
You used the term I hear a lot of times people say it's my lower back, kind of a general statement, but when it's the lower back, what I'm hearing from you is it doesn't have to necessarily be the lower back that
Right.
has,
Right. It could be affected
it
from.
could be from somewhere else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like from a pain management perspective, people are putting ice on the lower back
Mhm.
or taking Tylenol or whatever. because the pain is down there, but it really could have been started somewhere else. And how that sounds complicated. Like, how do you figure out
Yeah,
where it
why,
started
right,
that
right.
caused that
Right.
lower back pain?
Exactly. As a chiropractor, I'm always looking for the cause.
Right.
And so I check if somebody comes in with sciatica, I check the whole spine and to see
Yeah.
exactly what's going on. And a lot of times I'm focusing on the upper cervical
Mhm.
area and the lower spine as well. This is the sacrum right here. It's very important for helping to balance the cerebral spinal fluid, which is encases the spinal cord. So we talked where would I start? So basically, yeah, I'm checking everything.
Yeah.
And you know, I can't say that this chiropractic adjustment is going to get rid
Through the
of all
pain.
your sciatic problems
Right.
or
Yeah.
you're not going to have any issues anymore because
Right.
that's not really.
It comes and goes, sciatica? Is it like something that once it's healed, it should stay healed if you're doing the right thing? Or is it more likely it'll come back at another time?
Like a flare up
Like a
kind of.
flare up kind of a thing?
Often that happens because there's structural
It
changes
hasn't been
that
corrected. Yeah.
corrected properly, so things will start continue to happen or
Right.
progressively get
Right.
worse over time. And so by taking care of it and maintaining it, it's going to really help you avoid a lot of issues. And a lot of stuff could be emotional as well. You know,
Yeah.
there's the stresses of life, and then
Yeah.
you just start feeling pain in your body. And you know, if there's structural damage with the discs and the nerves, you're going to be prone to more problems and
Yeah.
more flare-ups. Now, the discs, they start to herniate and get flared up from lack of motion.
Ah,
So if there's a misalignment down here and things are stuck, if you just leave it alone, maybe you won't after a certain point feel the pain, but it's not going to correct the
Correct
problem.
it,
It's going to
okay.
get worse. These disc spaces, they get smaller
Smaller,
and smaller. Degeneration gets more and more. So the way to help the body to and to help the discs need motion to pump. It's called imbibition.
Okay.
And when they're moving properly, healthy nutrients is going in and you know, waste products are going out. And so the adjustments are helping that spinal motion
Okay, that
mobility
makes
so that
sense.
the
Yeah.
body can heal and
Makes
repair
sense.
itself.
You know, sometimes it's like a catch 22.
I was just thinking the
You
same
know,
thing, Otto.
people
Like they
have
don't move
so
because
much
they're in pain.
pain
Yep.
that they
So they
don't
can't move.
move.
Yeah.
So because
Yeah.
you don't move, you get
I
more
was
pain,
literally
you
just
know,
thinking because that's what I always say to my family.
it's a thing to,
Mhm.
you know, do you walk your way through pain? Do you
Yeah.
stretch your way through pain?
Yeah. That's a great
Yeah.
question. There healing is can be a painful process, you know. It's not always comfortable.
right.
Sometimes you have to work through that pain. I know when I was going through like sciatica issues, I was in a lot of pain. And it takes time and it takes that movement to break up scar tissue sometimes to in order to get your body moving. And movement is one of the best ways to help decrease pain and inflammation to help your body to restore itself.
What I'm hearing from you is like I've heard people say, well, I have to go for physical therapy, and we're not here to knock physical therapy, but I'm hearing that you can do a lighter version of that, if you will, by just moving and walking and stretching some. You don't have to go, you know, do an hour's worth of PT or whatever. Your view on that? Yeah.
Yeah, I always tell people chiropractic helps you to check in with yourself. It helps you get more connected to your body, helps you be more sensitive to what's going on in your system. So I always empower people. You know, what do you think is the best for you? You're the smartest doctor. Your body knows what to do. You know, what are you guided to do? Are you in so much pain that you can't walk at all today? Maybe just rest. Maybe can you walk a block today and then maybe a little bit more tomorrow? Maybe just drink some more water. Um, so I think that that goes a long way with people and helping them. Chiropractic is all about reconnecting you to your system and so that you can live a more healthy, optimal life and that you can, you know, be more guided by that inner intelligence to uh, live how you want.
You just said another magic couple words there, drink more water.
Yeah.
We as seniors are told, you know, to hydrate, drink,
Yeah.
drink
Everyone
water.
got to.
But you avoid it because you don't want to get up. You don't want to go to the bathroom every 3 hours or
Yeah.
every 2 hours or whatever. But what I'm hearing from you again is that hydration in the spine world even is important to stay hydrated.
Yeah, we're like something like 78% water, so we gotta drink. It helps replenish our system and helps flush out bad toxins. And also chiropractic. The goal of my care as a chiropractor, for me, a lot of chiropractors practice differently. For me, though, what I was taught is we don't necessarily diagnose or treat symptoms. The sole goal of my care is to help clear subluxation so that you could be more clear and connected and heal naturally.
Well, we're about to
Oh,
almost
that
over.
was kind-
Yes, see, Otto, we're just on the same wavelength today. We're very connected. What is the best way to contact you, Dr. Gower?
Oh, great. So I'm located in Port Washington. You can call my office. It's 516-945-9636. Again, 516-945-9636. My website's Dr. DrZachGower, DrZachGower.com, or you can email me at drzachgower@gmail.
Awesome. Well, I'd like to thank you so much, Dr. Gower. We could clearly talk to you all day long. We're going to have you back. It was so informative. Everyone, just take some of these golden nuggets and live better. You know?
Yeah.
Contact Dr. Gower. I would like to thank everyone who has joined us. Coming up next will be more Project Independence and You on LIU Public Radio.